This video training, it's about the ideal optometric practice, and it functions as follows. Number one, purpose. This is the reason the business exists. The vision of the practice must be clearly visible for everyone in the practice to see daily. It is your responsibility, though, to know what the vision of the company you're working for is and what role you play in ensuring that that vision comes to pass. It is your responsibility at the end of the day. And so the very first thing that you need to understand is, okay, what is the vision behind what we do as an organization? And what do you supposed to be doing? What your role is? How do you contribute to that vision? Is expected of you? What can you do over and above what is expected of you? Those are key things that as an employee in any organization for that matter needs to be aware of. When you know what is expected from you regarding the vision, you will know what is expected as a reward in terms of the results. So you then know that, okay, this is what is expected, but I can operate at that level. And when I operate at that level, that means whatever that I would have been rewarded here, I can be rewarded even far more at that level. And so remember, when there's a strong relational connection between the business leader and the people that are employed by the business owner's vision becomes your aspiration. And so for the optometric practices that are watching this right now, is that what is happening? Because we did research as a company and we realized that what actually adds the most or what contributes the most towards practices globally that are operating at this level. And it was based on three things: the vision of the organization, the culture of that organization, and of course the leadership. And so when all those three things are operating at the level at which they're supposed to be operating in, it just takes the practice to a level that it has got the potential of always having to be there, and the level at which it's supposed to be there actually. And so purpose is very, very important. Number two, people. There's a quote that is said or attributed to Sir Richard Branson actually. He says, train people well enough so that they can leave. Train them well enough so that they don't leave. Clients do not come first, staff do. When you take care of the staff first, they will in turn take care of the business. And so things like giving consumers excellent quality service delivery that exceeds their expectation. There will be no limit to how they'll be willing to spend their money in the business. And so when that is the norm in the practice, what you put into the business beyond what is expected of you determines what the business puts back in the team's hands at the end of the day. So it's a give and take, It's very, very important that as a business owner, you understand that you cannot grow your optometric practice without your team. Very, very important for the team to know that they will not be able to grow if they're not bringing that which they are capable of bringing to the table. And so as a staff member, you need to understand that, am I working in an environment that is bringing out the best in me? Am I bringing out the best of me in this particular environment? If it's not the case, quickly look at how can you change that, or quickly look at where you need to be, because the worst thing that you could be is in an environment that brings out the worst out of you. And the worst thing that could happen is you working in an environment that you're not contributing anything to. And as a business owner, you don't want to be employing people that you are not bringing out the best out of. So it's a career. This is not just a job, it's a career. So make sure that you're in the environment that you can best help you grow professionally and personally. Very, very important. And when it comes to that ideal optometric practice, the purpose is important, the people are important. Thirdly, it's the processes, the standard operating procedures for service delivery excellence. There has to be a standard operating procedures manual that details everything that is required of everyone in the practice. You need to have a manual that details everything. How do you approach this scenario, that scenario? What is expected in this regard, that regard? And so for those that are interested, they can get in touch with us. In part of our workshops that we work with optometric practices in implementing, one of the things that we do is provide them with standard operating procedures manual, but that is limited to the practices that sign with us for 12 months, where we're providing them with various services that elevate their businesses to a certain level. And so part of you completing this course is that you get that standard operating procedures guideline or template that you can then fine tune and craft based on the needs of the optometric practice that you are working in. There is no excuse why you as an optometric consultant are not fully trained with optometric knowledge pertaining to the role in your the practice that you're working in. And so you have to go out of your way to ensure that you fully understand what the processes, the systems, the protocols are pertaining to the different components of the practice, so that you can be able to exceed those norms that the practice has set as a standard in the practice. Products, these are the solution structures for optometry related products or problems. As an optometric consultant, you need to be able to be equipped. You need to be equipped with each product. So what we mean by this is that you need to go out of your way to ensure that you understand the purpose of a product, the functionality of a product, the benefits and clinical features of that product, the challenges that are associated with that particular product. What are the competitive products compared to the ones that you are using or selling in your practice, and the pricing associated with them. No one is going to teach you. You have to go out of your way to make sure that you know all these different components that we have just alluded to. That's the purpose, the functionality, the benefits, the challenges, the competitive products, and the pricing. The practice must have regular training workshops where each staff member gets an opportunity to educate the rest of the team on the products. And so do case scenarios on the different situations that may arise for illustrative purposes. And so every staff member needs to be equipped on how to sell the products. And so that is an important component pertaining to the ideal optometric practice. We find it very strange sometimes that a lot of times optometric practices, the employees in them, don't know anything pertaining to the product. So optometrist goes on leave, patient comes in, asks information pertaining to products, processes, and the staff member is not in a position to adequately answer them. Because why? That staff member was not trained on the products. As a staff member, you need to, especially at home when it's quiet in the practice, go out of your way to understand the products. Everything that you need to know about, especially the most common products that are being sold by the practice. It is your responsibility to know how they work, why they work, who needs them, what are the drawbacks of those products, what are the value add of that product, how the people experience that product. It's very, very important. And obviously the last one will be the profits. When the business does well, understand that you as a business, as a employee in that business, will be rewarded accordingly. And so your leader will devise incentive structures and commission plans for all employees in relation to the financial targets of the business when there's a good working relationship in the practice. And so you need to understand, if you are fortunate enough to know in the practice, this is the yearly target, monthly target, weekly target, daily target. This is what I'm responsible for in how I can contribute towards this target. Those are things that you need to be asking the optometrist about. That, hey, look, I've noticed that I'm doing a lot of selling here. What are the targets? What is it that you expect of me from a target point of view that I can contribute to the profits of the business so that I can be rewarded adequately year after year? Have those discussions with the optometric staff, because when you have those discussions, you function better, you function differently, you come to work differently, because you know that, oh, okay, this is what the business does, this is what is expected of me, this is how I can exceed expectations, and when I exceed expectations, this is what I'll be rewarded in. Very, very important. And so basically that is the different components that make up the ideal optometric practice. It's the purpose, understanding the why. It's the people, understanding that the role that each and every single person plays in ensuring that the purpose is achieved. Is the processes. Very, very important that you understand what the standard operating procedures are in that optometric practice that you're working in. It's then the products. Very, very important that you are the best knowledgeable individual pertaining to products. And lastly, it's the profits. So those are the 5 key areas that the ideal optometric practice functions in. So go back, revisit these 5 components as an optometric team, and you'll be well on your way in ensuring that the practice that you're working in is the ideal or becomes the ideal optometric practice, because it's about how the people that are working in it create it to become the ideal optometric practice.